Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Mike Newton down here at Penrith Golf Hub. We're going to carry on the Srixon product reviews, and this time we're going to take a look at the ZX Utility Iron. So more of a sort of hybrid style club, but in an iron shape, becoming very, very popular nowadays. A lot of the brands are offering these, and I think some golfers don't quite prefer this sort of hybrid shape. The hybrid sometimes gets on with it, prefer an iron. This is maybe that little bit more forgiving option in those long iron replacements. So we're going to take a little look at this particular club in this video. We've got TrackMan, measure some numbers, but also give you some personal feedback of my thoughts and looks of this particular club. Okay, so utility iron. I'm just going to start off with this particular video just to say this isn't dialed in perfectly for me. I've had some issues of trying to get hold of samples to bring this video out for you. So I've got a 4 here, 4 utility. Typically I would be putting a 2 in my bag, and I would love to get my hands on a 2. I am trying to do that. This is a 4, wouldn't really sort of suit me personally, and the shaft is a recoil which is a little bit light for me personally. So the numbers probably won't reflect the true performance of this club, but I wanted to put this video out because so many of you have been asking for this video. So we'll talk a bit more about the head. I'll hit some shots, maybe not do too much of numbers on this because of the makeup, but it does look a really, really good club, and they've made some big changes here with the visuals and also a little bit of tech in the head compared to the previous models. And I did have one of the other models which, to be fair, I really loved. It was so forgiving. It was a 2 iron. It just popped the ball up. It was effortless to sort of hit. But there was, and I would probably agree with what they've done with this now, there was like a big chunky bit that stuck out at the bottom. The sole was really, really wide, and you could see it from the top of the club how it stuck out. It didn't really bother me, to be honest, but having said that, now when I look at this, I much prefer the look. So they've chamfered off, they've taken that lump of weight out, but obviously the lump of weight was doing a reason, wasn't it? It's going to pull that CG down and low and away from the club face. Ease of launch, which is what this club is trying to sort of do. So obviously taking that away, you lose a little bit of that help. So what they've done then is replacing, you can see that little satin part in the middle of the sole there, and they replaced it with tungsten. So they put some weight in there without having to have the sort of steel body sticking out at the back. So down by the golf ball, again, it's a really, really good looking club. It's the shape of it. Obviously we've got a little bit of offset there, medium to thickish top edge, as you'd always expect, and what you'll see in a lot of utility irons from a lot of brands, a slightly thicker edge. And that is just, for me, I think that's a good thing, because otherwise if it was thin, it would just look like a normal iron. And I think it's always good in these irons to have what would look like a bit of, this real technical term, a bit of oomph behind it, a bit of that buffers in a way. It's a bit like 10-pin bowling, isn't it? It's like you've got those barriers up, so you can't put it in the gutters. You know, you've got that little bit of help there when you miss it. So let's get this first one underway. As I said, this isn't perfectly made up for me. It's a 4 iron, it's a 23 degrees of loft, but it does look great behind that golf ball. Love the shape of that. Oh, that felt lovely, and that is up and away. That's gone to the moon and back. Now, the shaft's a little bit light. I'm going to expect this probably to fly a bit too high for my sort of speed because of the shaft a little bit. I'm probably just going to spin a little bit more than I'd probably like to maybe see this particular club possibly. So, I mean, that carried 216. I probably expect to get a little bit more out of that in a sort of 4. I think I would do with the right sort of shaft in there for me. But that felt lovely. I felt very solid. It wasn't, sometimes when you go into utility irons, obviously become hollow, don't they? Hollow construction. We tend to see a very clicky, sort of sometimes a noisy sort of golf club, but that felt, or didn't sound loud, and it felt really nice, to be honest. That's lovely. That is really nice. It's quite a nice flight, that, to be honest. Again, I'm more of a 2 iron, and that's what I've been trying to sort of get my hands on, which I'll be really excited to sort of test. So you can see that got out at 221. But yeah, the sound there, lovely. Feedback through the club face was very nice. So we've seen similar sort of technology that we saw in the iron review, which I'll put a little link up. If you haven't seen the ZX5 and ZX7 irons, then do go and check that out. But similar sort of technology with this sort of milling, which is happening on the back side of the club face. So behind the face, we've got some sort of milling which is helping to sort of create sort of ball speed basically on those miss hits. So keeping it a little bit hotter off that club face and creating a little bit more of that speed, which is sort of these clubs are designed. Obviously the hollow head will help with trying to get the launch up there. Again, a little bit more spring off that club face, obviously within legal limits, and trying to get that speed up. So a great iron off the tee, maybe those tight fairway holes. Sort of trying to hit the fairway, you know, get that tighter sort of dispersion you just sort of expect to see from an iron, but also then that little bit of ease of launch when you are maybe hitting your second shot par 5 or long par 4s, hitting into the greens, just again trying to launch it off the lies that you'd see on the fairway. Oh, that is absolutely lovely. I need a 2-iron in that. I need a 2-iron in my life in that. I would love to sort of see what flight that gives me, what sort of distance, because that feels stunning off the club face. It really does. It feels beautiful. The flight is very nice. Considering that isn't made up that how I would have it as a shaft wise, that does feel wonderful. So these are fully forged. We've got a 1020 carbon body which is forged, and then we've got a forged face which is called a SUP10 face. So again, it's all about sort of ball speed, you know, trying to keep that speed up high. CG's low in the club, again helps with that ease of launch. But I'm just going to hit a couple of shots now and see if I can actually just drop that flight down. I know I've got a 4-iron here, but myself personally on the golf course, this would be a shot. If it's a little bit windy, I'd be just moving this back in my stance and just trying to knock that flight just down a little bit. And I'd be just interested to see how easy is this to sort of do with this type of club. Let's give this one a go. So just going to move that ball position slightly back in my stance. Just going to feel like I cover that ball a little bit longer through that hitting area. Yeah, I didn't flush that, but it's dropped the flight, it's dropped the launch. I'm going to lose a little bit of distance on that, I think, because I didn't quite get all of that. But you can see the launch number coming down to sort of 9.4. It's straighter, it's a different ball flight. Okay, that was a little bit of a better strike, and just with that slightly better strike, just launched a touch higher. But you can see those just aren't quite as maybe as penetrating as I'd probably like, and obviously not going to go as far. You see the spin just gets up a little bit more as I'm striking a little bit more sort of down on the shot. Again, I need it just made up in my club. So we're not going to look too deeply into those numbers. Obviously we've seen some numbers flick up on the screen. I think that's enough for those. I'm just going to try and get my hands on one, but I wanted to show you the head of this, how it sort of looks, how it sort of feels, and that is top marks. I love the look. I love what they've done with shaving that back edge off there. You don't see anything sort of sat behind the top edge there, which is good. The shape's very much like an iron, but you just know you've got that sort of technology, that oomph sort of behind the club. So post comments down below, let me know your thoughts. ZX range, the whole range from Srixon looks really good. I'm looking forward to testing the drivers, which will be coming to my channel very, very soon. We're also going to take a look at the fairway wood and the hybrid, so if you don't want to miss those videos, just make sure you've hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and you will get notified as soon as those videos go live. You will not miss a thing. Hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.